In this movie, I'll show you how to build a style from scratch and apply it to some placeholder text. And one more note about the last movie. In addition to not being able to undo the creation of a style or the redefinition of a style, you cannot undo the deletion of a style. So after I got done putting my document back together, I had to recreate this style as well. So what I'm going to do now is press the T key to return to the type tool. And I'm going to click on the in the air layer for a moment just to establish that Sego's script at 50 points is my default font. Then I'll switch back to the background layer because that's the kind of thing that happens. I don't really want it to be, but that's the kind of stuff that happens routinely in Photoshop. And I want to create a new paragraph by dragging. But if I start dragging here, I'm going to select some text. So I'll go ahead and press the escape key in order to undo that change. And then click on the background layer again. Notice the difference in the appearance of the cursor here. When Photoshop is ready for you to create a new text layer, the cursor has a dotted box around it. When Photoshop thinks you're going to select an existing text layer, then you just see the I-beam. If you want to be able to start dragging right here and create a new layer, here's what you do. You press and hold the Shift key and then begin dragging like so. However, you've got to release the Shift key after you start dragging, otherwise you'll be locked into a square. Anyway, I'm going to create a frame that descends into the grass here. And then I'll go up to the type menu and choose this new command, placeholder. And we will have this ginormous text, which for some reason is showing up as black for me. It may show up as red for you. And this is obviously not what I want at all. In CS5 and earlier, you might have been tempted just to hit the escape key and start over again and reset your formatting attributes before you create a new layer. However, now that we have paragraph styles, there's an easier way to work. So I'll go ahead and press the Enter key on the numeric keypad in order to accept that text, flawed as it is, and then I'll switch to my background image. In order to switch away from the text, I'll go to the Paragraph Styles panel, and I'll click on the little page icon to create a new style, and then I'll double-click on Paragraph Style 1 in order to open the dialog box. Let's go ahead and call this style Body Copy right from the beginning here. And then I'm going to set a few attributes. First of all, I'm going to change the font family, and you have to do this manually, by the way. You can't just type in a few characters or use the up and down arrow keys. And I'm going to switch things out to Adobe Caslon Pro, which does ship along with the Creative Suite, and it's alphabetized by Caslon, not Adobe. Then next, I'm going to change the type size to, let's say, 8 points, and I'm going to change the leading value to 9 points. And metrics is fine for the kerning. I do want the text to be black. I'm now going to switch to indents and spacing. And as opposed to beginning each paragraph with an indent, I'm going to begin it with, let's say, 6 points of before spacing. So I'll just type 6 and press the Tab key. And that's really all the settings I need to change. So I'll go ahead and click OK in order to create that redefined style. Now let's apply it to the placeholder text by clicking on the bottommost text layer. And I'll go ahead and click on Body Copy to make it active. And it's telling me that I've got some local overrides, even though everything looks great. But it's always a good idea to click that clear override button if you see the plus sign. All right, now at this point, I want to edit the text a little. I do not care if this is Photoshop's version of Lorem Ipsum. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then I'll introduce some carriage returns here like so. And you can put them anywhere you want. This is, after all, just placeholder text. And then finally, after I think, yeah, that's enough text, then I'll just select the rest by quadruple clicking on it and press the backspace key or the delete key on the Mac to get rid of it. And then I'll press the Enter key on the numeric keypad in order to leave the text entry mode. All right, now I'm going to press Command-Shift down arrow a couple times in order to nudge this text down like so. Might take it even a little further to about right there. And now let's say, you know, I'm thinking some more about this and there's some further modifications that I want to make. And so I think this time I'll apply my changes directly to the text. So I'm going to go ahead and quadruple click in one of these paragraphs here, and I'll bring up my character panel by pressing Control-T or Command-T on the Mac. And you know what? I think the leading value wants to be more like 9.5. We're working with pretty small type, so I can't take advantage of that keyboard shortcut. So I'll just go ahead and enter the value here. And then I'll switch to the paragraph panel, which gives me access to the paragraph level formatting attributes. And I'll click on this guy right there, add space before paragraph, to select that 6-point value, and I'll change it to, let's say, 4 point. Now, that value isn't going to make any difference to this top paragraph because the space appears before it, but it'll make a difference to the definition of our paragraph style as soon as we bring up the Paragraph Styles panel. And then this time, different way of working, you can click on the flyout menu icon and choose the Redefine Style command, and that's going to go ahead and update all 3 paragraphs of text. Now, one last thing I want to mention. I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, how do I share styles with other people? Well, notice here, if I click on the flat menu icon again, there's this command, load paragraph styles. And if you choose it, then you'll see that you can open the styles included in any native PSD document. So just go ahead and click on something like formatted teaser if you have access to my files, and click on the load button, and you'll go ahead and load 2 paragraph styles, teaser head and teaser copy from the first movie. Then go ahead and click OK. So that's how you create a paragraph style from scratch, import and use placeholder text, as well as load styles from another PSD document here inside Photoshop.